Okay, so deep in the deserts of West Africa, there's a country with an almost mythical reputation, Mauritania. It's known as the land of a million poets, and as some people claim, a million Quran memorizers. Now, how is that even possible? Today, we're going to dig into the secrets behind this incredible phenomenon of, well, super memorization.
I want you to just try and picture this for a second. You're standing in a remote desert village way before the sun comes up, and you hear hundreds of voices rising together. They're reciting these really complex texts, all in perfect harmony. This is the kind of sight that just floors visitors, and it's a powerful clue to a really unique and ancient way of learning. And the scale of this, it is just staggering. People who live there and visitors who've seen it claim that an astonishing 80%, maybe even more, of the entire Mauritanian population has memorized the whole Quran. To put that into perspective for you, that's over 6,000 verses, all committed to memory by a huge chunk of an entire nation. It's wild.
So the big question is how? How is this even possible? We're not talking about just one special school or one gifted teacher here. No, this is a nationwide phenomenon. So what is the secret that unlocks this incredible capacity for memory?
Well, the answer starts with an institution that's unlike any other in the world, really. It's a school system that doesn't thrive in big, grand buildings, but right in the heart of the desert. A lot of the time, it's actually moving with nomadic communities. It's called the Mahadra.
At its core, the Mahadra is basically a university that has just stripped away all the usual stuff. There are no walls, no formal bureaucracy, and a lot of times no fixed location. It's an entire educational model built on personal relationships and a singular focus on knowledge.
And when you put it side by side with a modern university, the differences are just, wow. On one hand, you've got the modern university, which can be bureaucratic and feel pretty impersonal. But the Mahadra, it's flexible, it's personal, and it's all built on this deep spiritual bond. The goal isn't just to get a career, it's about gaining knowledge for its own sake. One scholar even pointed out that all the time-wasting bureaucracy you find in modern systems just doesn't exist here. That frees up so much more time for pure study.
So, the institution itself is unique, but the real secret, that lies in its ancient and really powerful method. Let's take a look at the daily life of a student to see how they build this kind of mastery piece by piece. And let me tell you, this is not some casual education. The discipline is immense. The day starts in the pre-dawn cold. Then, the students physically write out their lessons on these wooden tablets. The heart of the day is all about mastering that text through constant repetition. And finally, the lesson isn't considered done until it's recited perfectly back to the teacher.
Now, you're probably wondering, wooden tablets in a digital age, why? And you know what? There are two really important reasons. First, it connects them directly to a scriptural tradition, so the act itself has this deep sense of blessing. And second, it's just intensely practical. It forces every single student to master the art of writing and calligraphy from a really young age.
Now, it's really easy to hear all this and just think, oh, it's just rote memorization, they don't actually get it. But that is a fundamental misunderstanding of what's happening. As one scholar explains it, when it comes to these complex classical texts, understanding is the entire point. If a student doesn't get the meaning, the recitation itself is seen as incomplete. So, a rigorous method is definitely part of the secret, but it is not the whole story. Not even close. You see, the Mahadra doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's supported by an entire culture, a whole ecosystem that's basically designed for deep learning. Just think about all the factors at play here. Life in these villages is pretty much free from modern distractions like TV and the internet. The entire community reinforces learning. The teacher, who's called the sheikh, is way more than just an instructor. He's often a father figure to these students who've sometimes traveled hundreds of kilometers just to study with him.
And the role of families, especially mothers, is just absolutely crucial. Listen to this story. The mother of one famous scholar wanted her son to dedicate himself completely to his studies, so she sent him to the Mahadra with a servant to handle chores, a camel for transport, and a tent for shelter. His one and only job was to learn. That's it.
But here's the thing. This ancient system, built on these principles of isolation and total focus, is now facing the pressures of the 21st century. So what does its future even look like? The most common criticism, and we kind of touched on this earlier, is that the Mahadra just produces graduates who are masters of memorization but lack deep critical understanding. That they're basically human tape recorders.
But check out this brilliant reframing from a scholar of the tradition. He argues that this criticism is actually a backhanded compliment.
He says that being able to commit such vast, complex text to memory isn't a weakness. It's the foundation upon which true understanding and analysis are built. I mean, think about it. You can't analyze what you don't first possess.
And it is so important to remember, these students aren't just relics from another time. They're modern kids. There's this wonderful story from a visitor who met a young boy who has the entire Quran memorized and who also completely lights up with joy talking about his favorite Brazilian football player. They exist in both of these worlds.
But despite all its strengths, the Mahadra is facing some very real threats. Its graduates often don't have the formal certifications they need in a modern economy. State-run schools offer a competing path. And of course, the lure of city life is always pulling young people away from what is a difficult and isolated life of a student.
And really, that just leaves us with this massive, central question. The Mahadra's power comes from its isolation, its simplicity, and its total immersion. But as the world gets more and more interconnected, can that very isolation be maintained? Can this remarkable tradition of super memorizers adapt without losing the ancient secret that makes it so incredibly unique?